Hello there, people of the internet. How's everybody doing? I'm a little on the chilly side, but I'm doing all right. I got this nice Russian coat on, and the Russians definitely know how to make warm coats. Won't lie, the officer coat is a little bit more on the warm side than this one, but I'm out here wearing this one and kind of regretting that decision. So I'm out here unironically, actually very ironically, with my World War II German Kar 98, wearing a Russian coat. That's where the irony comes from. And, well, the reason why I'm out here making this video is this is a video where I'm kind of asking you guys a question. But normally whenever I come out and I make these videos, I tell you guys, hey, this is what I do, this is my reason for doing it, and if you do something different, then by all means you go ahead and you do whatever it is that you're gonna do. I'm just telling you how I do it. And, well, this is one of those examples where every time I talk to somebody about this, they've got some other example or some other rationale behind it, so I figure, hey, I have this audience at my disposal. Let's go ahead and ask you guys and see what's going on. So here in the state of Florida, especially during non-scalding hot days and, you know, non-freezing cold days, I like to go camping, and I like to just hang out outside and in the woods, and a lot of times I'll hang out in places where I'm also allowed to hunt because I got my Florida's hunter's license, and just insert scenario here where I'm hanging out outside and I have multiple times come across, you know, opportunities where I'm able to snag some what was that sound? Some pigs, some boar. In a couple of instances with the locations I was in, I was able to snag some deer, and there were just instances where I was able to use this there were situations where I was able to effectively use whatever rifle I had with me at the time to justify having that rifle with me. Now here in Florida, there are predators, like there's very large cats out there, and you know, the boar, they get like stupid mean and stupid big, and they will legitimately attack you. As a matter of fact, actually, I was talking to, I can't remember who, I can't remember where, I think it was at a pet store actually, but I was talking to someone who was at a pet store, and I was under the impression that boar here in the state of Florida got like a maximum of 300 pounds, and boy, oh boy, was I wrong about that. Because this guy was telling me about a hunt that he had here in the state of Florida, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And he said that the boar that attacked him, that he took out with his rifle, was 600 and something pounds. And I was like, nah, there's no way. There's not here in the state of Florida. I don't believe you. And he pulls out his phone and he shows me a picture. This dude was about as tall as I am. I'm like 6'2" or something like that. But this dude pulls out his phone and he shows me this boar, like this dead boar, that standing would stand about this tall at him. And I was like, oh my God, I have never seen a boar that big. And he showed me the area of where he got it, and I've been there myself, and I'm like, yeah, I was literally right there. You are not lying. You are where you said you were. And if I did not see the photo of this dead boar, I would not have believed it. Like, oh my God. But anyway, that's just a little tangent story off on the sideline. Whenever I'm out here in the state of Florida, there are instances where you might have to protect yourself against wildlife. You're probably not going to have to protect yourself against people. So whenever I am on a camping trip, I bring some kind of rifle with me. And it used to be like back whenever I was first starting to really get into the outdoor life, and I had, you know, my collection was not nearly as big as it is right now, but whenever I had my collection, I would like pick and choose. I'd be like, all right, I'm feeling this one today, or all right, I'm feeling this one, because why the hell not? But I find myself way more often than not picking my German Kar 98 8mm Mauser 5-shot bolt action rifle. I can legally hunt with this thing. I know this one is accurate. The firing pin spring inside of this one is a standard 19-pound, so the trigger is nice and comfortable. And 198 grain projectiles is typically what I use in this thing. Well, more like 200 grain. But anyway, heavy bullets, which is definitely enough to be able to take whatever it is that I come across. But I also use lighter weight bullets. Oftentimes I'll use like 140 grain projectiles in an 8mm Mauser. And I find that those, whenever they've been slightly underloaded, do not destroy meat and whatnot in small game. Like, you don't want to hit a squirrel with it, don't get me wrong. But if I'm hunting small game thing, I'll be able to preserve the meat. Like many times I've come across small pig that are probably about this big, where a full power 8mm Mauser round probably would not be a good idea. But I find myself gravitating towards my 8mm Mauser because just the variety of ammunition that I can run through this thing and the variety of loads that I can run through this thing is just, it's so universal, and it handles basically everything that I need to handle out here. If I come across a massive bore out here, then a couple of rounds of 198 grain full power 8mm Mauser are gonna put that thing down no problem. But whenever I was talking to, you know, some other people in my circle and some other people that, you know, I've come across people that know my gun channel, like, oh, hey, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, hi, how you doing? And we start conversating, just, you know, one-on-one. But anyway, whenever I talk to people about this concept, like, yeah, whenever I'm out and about, I find myself just with a Car 98, with this particular Car 98, just because I like it. It's reliable, it's smooth, it's lightweight, it's not overly heavy. I have plenty of other options, but just with the ammunition choices that I have for this one, of course, there's plenty of other ammunition choices for basically all of the other stuff. Well, this one right here is just kind of what I gravitate to, and a lot of it comes towards like familiarity and comfortability with the rifle and with the platform. Now, whenever I bring up topics like this, I get people in the comments saying, well, for example, my little video I made not too terribly long ago talking about how a musket is a good survival rifle for an SHTF situation because you can run it indefinitely. I get people going in the comments and they're talking about how that is an absolutely stupid decision because you want something with a 30-round magazine that's semi-automatic that can put a lot of lead down range as fast as possible. And I'm like, that's not what we're talking. We're not talking about combat. We're talking about just a survival situation. Now you can have your AR platform. I even brought that up in that video. Have your AR platform for defensive purposes. You know, you use that to keep yourself safe. But for, you know, game gathering and for just general survivability, in terms of the SHTF situation, depending on the situation. I mean, the insert situation here where it would be an exception. But depending on the situation, just the what's the word I'm looking for? The survivability traits of the rifle, which would outmaneuver something. They would outdo the defensive traits of the rifle. You don't necessarily need this defensive capable rifle for a survivalist situation if you're not going to be using any sort of, or if you're not going to be experiencing any sort of combat. And right now, with me in the state of Florida and times are good, I don't really expect to come across any sort of combat. I would absolutely be using the rifle specifically for survivability. There are times where I'm out there for several days and I mean, just for basically fun, I'll survive off the land and what I can gather and what I can hunt. And whenever that happens, then yeah, it's absolutely a survival rifle, and 5-shot bolt action rifle, full power rifle, that is definitely a good way to go. But anyway, my point being is that I kind of gravitate towards this particular rifle because not only do I know it very well at this point and have relied on it very effectively at this point, but it just as a base of feeling, I enjoy it. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who go to a particular platform for like a non-critical situation just because they enjoy that platform. My father, for example, in the event that something goes down, he's got himself an AKM that he can break out. It's in 7.62 x 39, and he's got himself plenty of ammo for it. If something goes down and he has to grab that, then, you know, he goes ahead and he uses that. But for anything else, he's got himself a 30-30 Winchester lever action, and that is what he uses for basically everything else. Whenever he's working the land, or whenever he's chasing hogs off the property, or whenever he's, you know, I mean, hell, we had some pigs rooting up some stuff on our property not too terribly long ago, and instead of grabbing the AK, he grabs the 30-30. That's just his choice of weapon because he likes it, and that's what he wants to use. And in a situation where you don't have to worry about the thing having a much more capable rifle and using that against you, then yeah, that would absolutely be adequate enough to handle the situation that you would come across. So this right here is kind of a good in-between cartridge. This right here is Turkish Mauser 8mm ammunition. This particular stuff is 1944 production. But this is a 155 grain bullet, so not the heaviest bullet, but it is absolutely a full power round. These tend to travel about 3,000 feet per second. Now, depending on where you're at and whatnot, I'm pretty sure that these cannot be used for legal hunting because they're not an expanding bullet. However, if I'm, out camping, not looking to hunt, there are times where I will bring these. And if I'm not hunting, and a lot of times I'll just freaking be out on my own property. I got plenty of property to hang out on. But I will bring these, because if something decides to attack, then the bullet type doesn't matter. And these right here, these are very effective. But these Turkish Mauser rounds traveling at around 3,000 feet per second. They have some harsh recoil behind them because, my God, do they have some oomph behind them. I'm sure somebody's going to bring up that, the powder's been degraded, and then there's going to be somebody else who brings up, no, they're exactly as intended, designed off the German S cartridge, and I'll let you guys go and argue about that. Down below, I do know that my Mauser 98, Car 98 can handle it fine because I have ran plenty of this stuff through this particular Car 98 just to kind of get used to it. My box is out there. Well, I don't want to shoot this with my box out there because then I'll tear up that box. Let me go grab that. Okay, I have returned. I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, what do you go to whenever you're just having an outdoor time, an outdoor situation, whenever you're just out and about? Is that gunfire? I think that was gunfire I just heard in the background. But whenever you're out and about, not expecting an SHTF self-defense situation, what rifle do you go to? In my case, it's this Car 98. I've just gotten used to grabbing it and going. All right. I'm not sure if I hit my target, but it looks like it sank down some. You guys probably can't see it. I had a Sprite can out there from the other day. Let's try the steel. Well, the steel was hit, and it doesn't look too happy about it. The other day, I came out here to shoot a bunch of guns, and I spent like all day firing rifles, and I feel like I pulled a muscle in my shoulder. And whenever I shoot this thing, I can feel like my pec muscle strain. Definitely a good workout, that's for sure. Back in high school, I had a buddy of mine point out, hey, have you ever noticed how much larger Sean's right arm is than his left? And I'm like, yeah, that's because I fire bolt action rifles a lot. And they're like, that's not true. And I'm like, yeah. All right, last round. There we go. Actually fired that time. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below and what you guys' choices are. It's getting cold out here. I'm gonna go inside. Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share, description below. Link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. Shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.